Hello, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for clicking play if you're watching this after the fact. I'm glad you could join me. My name is Jesse Hill, and I'm the president of Tier 3 IT Solutions. And today we're going to spend a couple minutes just talking about cyber insurance and phishing, email phishing, and how these things are interrelated and how you can affect positive change in your cyber insurance by better managing the risk of phishing attack in your business. So the first thing I guess to start off with is maybe a quick definition of what a phishing attack is. And they're changing all the time. A phishing attack essentially is when somebody sends you an email, a text, it could be through WhatsApp, or potentially even we're now starting to see voice phishing attacks. They call them phishing. And the general concept is that the email is fraudulent. However, it appears legitimate enough, enticing enough that somebody within your business may consider clicking on the link and following through, whatever the attack chain is. More often than not, what they're trying to do is they're trying to present information to you that entices you to click so that you'll go to a web page that looks like your email service provider or your SharePoint tenant or something along that effect. And it will come up and it will ask you for a username and a password. And when you enter that username and password, it's collecting that information. And the reason that the cyber criminals want to do this is that, unfortunately, most people today still have very poor cyber hygiene, meaning they reuse simple passwords across multiple sites and servers. So if I can compromise one of your passwords, chances are that I can take and I can use that in other sites and services to try to gain access, impersonate you, steal information, steal finances. So because phishing is continuing to grow at an astronomical rate, cyber insurance companies are realizing that this is a major potential risk and point of loss for them. So when you are looking to protect your business with insurance, your cyber insurance company is going to ask you questions to attest about your level of preparedness and risk from their perspective that you might fall victim to a phishing attack. The impacts of a phishing attack can be quite broad. And, we've seen instances where, an automotive dealership has been phished with a fake invoice and they wire $100,000, $200,000 to a fraudulent account. We have seen instances where home builders have fallen victim to phishing attacks. And again, their customers have sent money to the wrong accounts. And so these attacks, they can be quite large and quite easy to carry out from a criminal's perspective. The other thing is that it's not always about the money that gets transacted or that gets lost in these attacks that causes the problems. Sometimes it could be reputational damage. If somebody compromises your business's email accounts and sends damaging information to your clients or your vendors, it may impact your relationship with them. It also could allow somebody to steal proprietary information from you. And the third thing I think that we're seeing more is where they're using information to design even more targeted attacks. So as an example, if they were to steal your accounts receivable listing, well, they could then carry out attacks against your clients with very precise, very specific information. So as a business, there's the two sides of the equation. You want to protect your business and you want to get insurance coverage that's going to protect your business. And first you have to do the cyber work in order to qualify for more favorable insurance coverages and premiums. So we do know that just like any type of insurance, when you are applying for cyber coverage, You fill out your attestation, your questions. Your insurance carrier is going to work to determine the level of risk in your business as compared to others. Certain types of businesses, whether they're in the healthcare, legal, those types of very knowledge-based, high amounts of private personal information may have a higher risk factor than maybe a retail store. And so the insurance company is going to ask you all kinds of information about your business, your industry, your cyber posture. And from that, they want to evaluate the consequence of an attack on your business. And these are the types of questions that I ask a lot of times when I'm meeting new businesses is, what would happen if you didn't have access to your computers for a day or a week or a month? And I know that that is a very difficult question to ask because we all depend on computers. But it is important to realize when you watch and you read the news and you look at some of the big cyber incidents that have occurred, even locally here in the last year, we've had massive chains that have been unable to stock their shelves, pump gas, sell product. And it's affected them to the tunes of millions and millions of dollars. So the businesses who are able to demonstrate to their cyber insurance carrier that they have good cyber hygiene practices, that they have good continuous ongoing training and security measures, and that they're applying layers of protections, are generally more favorable in the eyes of the insurance carrier. And this can translate into better premiums, better terms, better coverages, and just ties in overall that when you do a better job of taking care of the cyber hygiene, you generally end up with better insurance situation. So a couple of the things specifically around phishing awareness and minimizing your risk of falling victim to a phishing attack that a cyber insurance carrier is going to be concerned about is, first of all, if you are not regularly providing cybersecurity awareness training to your staff. And I do think it's really important that we talk about regularly providing this training because it's a big, broad topic that is constantly changing and evolving. And if your staff do one training once a year, they're probably not remembering a whole lot of that by the time they get, a couple of months in. And so our recommendation is typically to do smaller doses of training on a more regular basis with a platform that allows you to track and report attendance and compliance. The next thing that your cyber insurance carrier might be concerned about is if you aren't able to prove or if you show them that you have weak technical defenses. And these are things like using free antivirus solutions, unmanaged software patching, these types of things. And it's very difficult if you're doing IT internally or independently to manage this. But as an IT service provider like ourselves, when we come in, we are putting in multiple layers of protections in order to try to cover as many angles as we can. We often talk about the idea that there is no individual 100% cybersecurity solution. So you need to have a good antivirus software. You need to have a good patch management process. You need to have some type of application whitelisting and control. Having multi-factor authentication enabled. And there are many, many other layers that you could put in. But every single one of the ones I just mentioned adds on top and helps to protect against a different angle of attack. The lack of breach preparedness. Now, this is something that I think most small and medium businesses struggle with. They don't even know that this is something that they could undertake. But the best way to prepare your business for a cyber attack is to simulate a cyber attack on your business. And this is an exercise that we undertake at least annually in our business. And we really found that it's helpful to get your management, your leadership team, your top level people into a boardroom, lock the door, and run a scenario. It could be that a key email account has been compromised, and start to understand that when there's an incident affecting your technology, it's not IT's problem. IT is going to contribute by hopefully figuring out what happened, how they got in, how bad is it, what can we do to fix it or solve it. But more often than not, the businesses who respond best and recover best are the ones who have already mapped out what level of involvement do they need from the different layers of management, frontline staff, customer service. What about your legal, your outside legal, public relations, and your relationship with your cyber insurance carrier. You don't want to be figuring out your cyber incident response plan in the middle of a cyber incident. You need to have this workshopped beforehand for maximum effect. And then the last one on here about infrequent security reviews. I got to tell you, the real challenge is in managing your cybersecurity posture is that we could build the absolute best system today, and when we all go to bed and we wake up tomorrow morning, the world of technology may have changed in dramatic ways. It could be that there's a new vulnerability that's been discovered and is being exploited in the wild. It could be that there's a new type of ransomware that's being distributed. It could be something that's evading the email filtering systems, that's putting more and more threatening messages into your staff's inboxes. The point of this is that if you are not running regular security assessments and reviews against your network, you don't know what your current threats are. And it's really tricky because as an IT service provider, of course, we run these against our clients' networks, but it's always most valuable when it's an outside third party, somebody who is independent, that is going to be able to give you unbiased feedback about the state of your network security. So often you can reach out to security companies and they'll have options for that. We can help with that as well. If you're interested, always reach out. So the thing about, we just talked about having independent third-party solutions is that a lot of small and medium businesses, if they have their own IT team or they're working with I'd say more of a reactive IT company, they're constantly in a response mode, meaning they're trying to put out fires. It's always the biggest problem of the day is where their attention is going to go. So what you want to find is a managed IT services provider who is truly proactive. And when I say proactive, I mean they have people in defined roles with activities scheduled and planned in advance that are designed to help improve the security, the stability, the supportability, and the strategy of your network. So what they'll be able to do is they can come in and they can help really strengthen that cybersecurity defenses because they have access to better tools. They have access to a broader base of knowledge. As an example, in our business, we have a specific team of people that all they do is cybersecurity, meaning they're not also doing support tickets and they're not also installing computers. They focus all day, every day on improving the security of ours and our clients' networks. Anytime you're rolling out new devices, new software, new cloud services, it's important to understand the strategic component of it. How is it being secured? How is it being deployed? How is it integrating into other services that you may already have? And by being able to really articulate that you've put this care and attention into your cyber insurance provider can help you, again, secure more favorable terms on your insurance. So we've talked a little bit about, the direct benefits. When you're working with a managed service provider, you get that breadth of knowledge, you get, focused resources, and it's, from our perspective, nearly impossible for, an individual or a small internal team to deliver the breadth of what a business needs nowadays. The other thing that I think you want to think about when you're deciding how to protect yourself is that, an external managed IT service provider, um, we bring a lot of knowledge because we're seeing what's happening in many different types of businesses and many types of different industries. We're attending conferences and trainings and getting certifications, from, vendors and partners. And so by understanding, more about, the current risk profile or risk factors that you're facing, we can better protect against that. We want to continuously be evolving and adapting our approaches because, as I mentioned earlier, the threats that we're going to face tomorrow are different than the threats we're facing today or yesterday. When it comes to your cyber insurance, a lot of cyber insurance carriers they favor a business who has a proactive IT services provider. And I'm starting to talk to more of these insurance carriers who are giving favorable terms and coverages if you use certain security platforms, certain antivirus solutions, certain managed detection and response solutions, and things like that. And the other thing is, you want to, whenever you're thinking about cybersecurity solutions, you want to think about how they're integrating to the broader, technology plan and tool set that you have. Because it gets really, really difficult when you start having all of these different layers of protections if there isn't a way to monitor and report and manage them in an easy, scalable way. All right. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Just, throw them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. We'll stick around for a couple minutes and deal with those, but I just wanted to say thanks again for joining. My name is Jesse Hill. I'm the president at Tier 3 IT Solutions. And if you have any questions about, cybersecurity, best practices and hygiene, maybe how it relates to cyber insurance, we'd be happy to chat. Feel free to reach out and hopefully we'll talk again soon. Thanks. Have a great day.